What's going on, guys? TK back with another video. So today I'm going to be going over how to defeat these two menaces in VGC, since this is a very popular core. You know, the game's been out for a while, so people have been developing tech to beat it, but there's still a very annoying duo to deal with. I thought I'll go over some techniques to defeat them. But before we get into that, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment if you have any other questions, and let's jump into the video, okay? So you want to learn how to beat Dondozo Tatsugiri, okay? This is a very frustrating core because Dondozo Tatsugiri players are adapting to what, the counters to beat them, right? So I'll give you a few examples of how they do it. What they do is they chip, they know, let's say Murkrow. Murkrow is a very popular Pokemon because it covers a lot of bases, right? It's Prankster, Tailwind, it has Haze to destroy the stat boost from the Tatsugiri and Dondozo. So what they do is they try to chip away and kill the Murkrow, and then they go into the Dondozo Tatsugiri Commander strat, right? But another thing they do is they just kind of trick you at the character select or the draft. So before you start the game, remember VGC is bring 6 draft 4, right? So what they do, they're okay, they see hard counters Dondozo, so they just they just won't bring it, and then you bring Murkrow, and then maybe the Murkrow doesn't fare against the other 4 that they bring. So usually you see they'll use cores Murkrow can beat it with Haze, right? Obviously. So as soon and then remember, once Tatsugiri jumps in the mouth, one commander activates, the Dondozo cannot switch out. So that means you're stuck in there, then you get Haze, and then it kind of destroys, right? Kind of destroys them. So what they do is they'll draft things like Sylveon, and they'll do this core is pretty popular, Sylveon Arcanine. They'll do Choice Band Arcanine, Extreme Speed, Terrestrial Normal. And then what they do is they'll pressure the Murkrow like this, right? Hyper Voice, pixelated Hyper Voice, right? And they'll try to destroy the Murkrow as fast as possible. Then once they destroy the Murkrow, they'll switch to Dondozo and speed run your team basically. So what you can do, there's a whole bunch of other counters. Murkrow isn't the only one, but you got to be wary. It's very hard because yes, Murkrow kind of hard counters Dondozo, but it's not like the Dondozo players can adapt to your strategy. They can see what the counters are, and then they just play around it, right? So I'll just go through a few examples of other things that can beat Dondozo Tatsugiri, because this once they get going, if they chip away at your team, they just speed run it, man. You can't kill it. They have leftovers. They're unaware, right? I really think unaware is the best ability for Dondozo, because you can't even do your own stat boost. Maybe you're trying to bulk up your Ledge or something, right? And then the Dondozo doesn't care. He's unaware to your stat boost, so he's just speed running through your team, right? But yeah, there's other counters, instead of Murkrow, you could do Amoonguss, right? Clear Smog. The thing about Amoonguss, though, you got to remember, the Dondozos, remember, they're not dumb. A good Dondozo player, they can tech in Steel. They run Steel Terra type, and then now you can't use your poison move because Steel is immune to poison, so you can't even clear Smog them. So Amoonguss is just another counter to consider if maybe the Dondozo isn't a Steel Terra type. Then you can use Amoonguss to clear Smog it without having to guess, basically. Another thing is Meowscarada. So Meowscarada is really good. You could do, I like, obviously this is Protean. You don't even need Protean on Meowscarada, to be honest. Overgrow can actually be more value because you can get down to the Sash, activate Overgrow, and Flower Trick is a very good move because Flower Trick always crits. When you crit a Pokemon, it ignores stat boost. It goes through Reflect. It doesn't care about Light Screen. It doesn't care about your stat boost. It doesn't care if you're +6 in defense right now in the current battle. So crits will bypass all stat boosts. So let's say the Dondozo isn't, you got to remember, they like to run Terrestrial Steel, Dragon, and these are the most popular: Terrestrial Steel, Dragon, and Grass. So it's gonna Flower Trick will get resisted, right? But let's say the Dondozo player had to, before they brought it in, they had to use their terrestrialization outside of Dondozo. Well, then they're stuck in water, okay? Meowscarada that hits a Dondozo that's boosted by Tatsugiri, and let's say you Terrestrial Grass and you got Overgrow and you Flower Trick, you're destroying that thing. As long as it's not terrestrialized, you're killing that thing. Even if it is terrestrialized, you're still doing some good chip on it, right? Because remember I said Flower crits ignore stat boost. So Meowscarada is a pretty good counter if you need it. I think one of the best counters is actually Skelidirge, though, because if you run, I like Terra Grass for this, but if you run Unaware Skelidirge and you run Leftovers, or you run maybe you run Citrus Berry, some kind of passive. I like Leftovers personally. Some kind of passive healing, right? You can run Protect, Slack Off, You can even run Yawn. You can do like Protect and Yawn. I like Protect when I'm running leftovers. You do like Yawn, and then you do like Torch Song, Shadow Ball, right? This will beat Dondozo because Dondozo is usually, now sometimes they run Avalanche. You know, Avalanches can be pretty deadly versus this. But remember, Skelidirge is tanky. Skelidirge has really good stats, right? And then you're unaware. So let's say you're running that Yawn set. Well, Yawn, Protect, get your leftovers, put it to sleep, right? And then now you just speed run it with Shadow Ball, right? Because like if it's a water type, especially if the Terraform's in the grass, then you could just Torch Song. But you could also do that too. You could Torch Song one, get your special attack boost, and then start Shadow Balling. Remember, Skelidirge is unaware as well. So Dondozo is, I mean, you don't want to Torch Song if this is unaware because it doesn't matter. Maybe you just go straight for Shadow Ball, or you run Terra Blast. You know, you can run Terra Blast if it's still grass. But like I said, it depends on the situation. It's very nuanced. But Dondozo will ignore your stat boost, but you'll also ignore Dondozo's stat boost. If you can beat it in a battle of attrition, right? You got leftovers. He might have leftovers or whatever, but Skelidirge can actually beat Dondozo if you have like, maybe you have Slack Off, right? Because remember, Dondozo it has leftovers, but it doesn't get a recovery move. So if you run Slack Off, you can beat it in a battle of attrition as long as you're not taking super effective damage. So Skelidirge is a really good one. You can also run another unaware. You can also run Dondozo himself, right? You can do your own unaware Dondozo, and you can do like leftovers, and you can actually, it gets Fissure. It gets Fissure as an egg move. So yes, Fissure only has 30% accuracy, but you got 8 chances, right? If you PP up the Fissure, you have 8 chances to one shot the Dondozo, because like you're unaware, right? You're both unaware. Now you got to be careful because they can have substitute. But remember, you still have a partner because you're not using Tatsugiri. You're just running Dondozo as a standalone, right? So you can run like Protect, Fissure, and you can run, Liquidation and like Avalanche, or fill in the slot here. But I mean, I don't know what Terra type you run. Maybe Grass. I don't know, like Grass, Water. Honestly, what you're trying to do is it's a battle of attrition, just like Skelidirge. But remember, you can switch out. They can't because they're running Tatsugiri. So you could just bank. You could just bank on your 8 Fissures and one of them hitting, and then you're good to go, right? And then Tatsugiri comes out. And then remember your partner. You still have a partner with your Dondozo, right? So maybe you have Amoonguss redirecting the Dondozo, or you have like another Pokemon making sure it kills the substitute, because substitute makes the Fissure strat hard. But if you can deal with the substitute, you could just Fissure the Dondozo, and then like you win basically, and then Tatsugiri jumps out and you just take care of Tatsugiri. But unaware is pretty good versus dealing with commander strat. So that's just another example. You also have what I see, Lycanroc. Lycanroc has been becoming popular with the Tyranitar core, like the Sand core. So they run Focus Sash, and then what they do is they Endeavor. So if y'all don't know what Endeavor works, the lower the target's HP to the user's HP, right? So let's say Lycanroc is in the sand, right? And then he's immune to like the sand chip, but Dondozo will continue to take the sand chip. But let's say Terraslice and Steel type. But let's say Lycanroc is at 1 HP, right? He can Endeavor the Dondozo and bring it down to 1 HP. It doesn't care about his stat boost, right? And under the sand, Lycanroc, I think Dondozo even max speed Jolly with +2. I think it only outspeeds 100 base speed Pokemon and below, I believe. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but Lycanroc should always outspeed Dondozo even with +2 speed. So what you do is, if Lycanroc is at 1 HP, you Endeavor the Dondozo, and then you bring it down to 1 HP, and then you can just chip it with like another move. Like I think they run like Rock Slide, and then like Close Combat, and then Protect, right? I think that's what the move set is. And then they just go max speed, max attack. They do it like that. But I don't know if they run Adamant or whatever, because Lycanroc's pretty fast, 112, but you can run Jolly. But anyway, what the main thing is you beat it with Endeavor. So you get to 1 HP with Lycanroc, and then you hit Dondozo with Endeavor, and then boom, you win. Just like that. Another counter is Mimikyu. I've been seeing Mimikyu come up. So Mimikyu has Disguise, so it basically has its own Focus Sash. It got nerfed from 6th gen when it used to be Disguise broke and it didn't cut your health. But now when the Disguise breaks, it's so you can't double up on Focus Sash and Disguise, right? Because that'd be too crazy. So they had to nerf it. So when you break the Disguise, now the Mimikyu takes like 1/4 of his health or something. Just a little chip. So you can't double up on Focus Sash. But basically they run Curse. So Curse, Curse, if it's a ghost, it'll chip away at your health. But remember, you got Disguise, and then the Dondozo is locked in on the Curse, right? Remember, Dondozo can't switch. So Mimikyu will press Curse, and then Dondozo will have to hit it once to break Mimikyu's Disguise. And then what you can do after that is just like let the Curse destroy Dondozo, so you can run like Protect, or you can like switch it out. Remember, this is VGC, so you got more than one Pokemon, but you can switch out Mimikyu, or you could you know, protect and just stall it out, basically let the curse do its job. But that's just another example. And then I think the last example I have is like Gothitelle, like Parasong. So things that get Parasong, like Altaria. I think Altaria gets Parasong. Altaria doesn't seem to be popular, but you know, it's kind of funny because Altaria actually has like Cloud9 and stuff. That could be good against like weather teams. I think it's pretty underrated, but but Azumarill I think gets Parasong. So anything that gets Parasong, right? Oh, you don't get Parasong anymore? Oh, is it illegal? Gothitelle doesn't get Parasol. Gothitelle doesn't get Parasol? No, yeah, you run a partner with it. You shadow. Okay, I'm tripping. I thought Gothitelle actually got Parasol. It doesn't. What you do is you shadow tag and then okay, maybe Gothitelle shouldn't be on this list then because I mean like Donzozo's trapped anyway. What I'm trying to say is it runs something with Parasol, okay? So like I know Altaria gets it, and then Azumarill gets it. Any, you know, I guess like any Pokemon that you team build around that gets Parasong. What happens is, remember, Dondozo can't switch, right? And then what you do is you Parasong it, and then you're good. Just stall it out, baby. Stall it out. Let them die. The thing about this though, you gotta understand that once Tatsugiri is in the Dondozo's mouth though, Tatsugiri is actually immune to the Parasong. I believe Tatsugiri isn't on the field, right? So the Parasong will affect everything that's on the board, even you. But what you need to do is switch out in time before you die, right? But he can't switch. So Dondozo will faint, but I think Tatsugiri will still be alive. So you got to make sure you prepare for Tatsugiri being back on the board when Dondozo faints. But Parasol will basically like trap him, and you know he's already trapped. But Parasol will just like, you know, it's like a instant kill right after 3 turns because he can't switch. He has to die basically. So you just stall it out. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So this core, Dondozo Tatsugiri has a lot of counters, but remember, it's all about how the player is playing too. Just because the Dondozo players know there's how to counter the Dondozo, right? So they will play around it. So you need to understand how to play around them being able to play around you, right? It's all a mind game at the end of the day. So understand the counters and understand how your opponent's going to play around your counters, and understand how you can effectively make sure you can apply those counters so you're not getting finessed by this crazy duo. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. So if you like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.